Hey, this is Adam, and I'm your Unexceptional Craftsman for this build. Being a big fan of Fallout and having just recently gotten back into Fallout 76, I thought making a diorama of a vault would be really cool. So I decided to do just that. But this build wouldn't be just a vault. I start this build with the most iconic part of a vault, the door. I'm using basic floor mat foam in order to create the door, as well as the track that the door is going to sit on and move on. That's right, move on. This door is going to be fully functional. I thought it'd be really cool if I made a vault that actually acted like a vault. I then go ahead and cut out an opening for the door. This will not be visible from the outside of the vault, however, I wanted the door to fit into place. So I made sure to cut out the same shape. I go ahead and attach the foam to the back side of the wood. This wood will be used later to create a box. The track gets glued down in place, and the entire box is assembled. Now if you notice, the original mechanism I created here is just not working. So plan B. Like the game, I opted for a sliding piece at the top, which simply allowed for the mechanics of the vault to work exactly as they should. I went ahead and attached that piece to the top of the box, so now it will slide along the top instead of needing an entire mechanism from the front to the back. Not only is this more simple, but it works so much better. I glue the box together and finish assembling that by holding it down with tape. Notice how easy that moves. Perfect. Anyways, I'm going ahead and putting the back of the box together. This piece adds extra support. I'm going to glue that in. And then place this on a base. 1 second. That's better. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and detail out the vault door now by cutting out the inner circle, gluing this down, adding some detail, gluing it back into place. I step down the thickness of this foam so that later I can add some pieces so the foam doesn't stick too far out. It's important that the door can slide back and forth, and if anything were to protrude too far from the door, it would be blocked or prohibited from moving. Some pieces need to be inset, and so I cut out any bit of foam that's in the way. I also sand down these pieces to give them a nice beveled edge. Next, I'm going to design the front of the vault. Now, most doors on the exterior have this nice Vault-Tec logo design, and so I'm just cutting that out of some thicker foam and then hot gluing it into place. I layer on a few extra detail pieces, which can be seen on Vault 76's door in the game. By adding some thinner foam, I can kind of bend them into place, and it gives that really cool curved effect as though the metal is being curved and bent and welded into place. Using thicker EVA, I also created an exterior band that went around the design and the door. Wrapping with this small detail creates a better 3D effect on the door as well. And then I'm going to seal it up with some quick seal. This is just to hide any gaps that might have been left behind by imperfections, or I should say by my imperfect cutting. Don't worry, I smooth that out later. Alright, now I'm going to glue on some packing foam. This packing foam is old and I'm recycling it now, and I'm going to use it as the terrain bits. It's really easy to carve with a hot knife or hot wire, and I can just hot glue it right into place, and then carve it again if I still need to. Next, I'm going to add a platform which is where you would enter or exit the vault. For the top of the box, I need to add some terrain to hide and disguise the cutouts that I have. So I'm going to add this corkboard, and I'm going to create a road. I wanted to have the effect of the wasteland, and this seemed like the perfect place to put that in.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to break it in a few places, and that'll give it a really natural effect of cracking. If I were to cut that, it would be way too clean or too straight, and it just wouldn't look good. But corkboard is great for breaking apart and giving it a really nice texture. Amazing. Sanding down the corners and breaking them off also helps to get rid of that hard edge effect from the cut. I'm going to finish up this terrain with a few bits of extra cork and foam, and then I'm going to cover it in Mod Podge. After that, I also go ahead and add some of the spackling to hide any other holes or any deep pockets that I don't want seen that the Mod Podge couldn't get to. I also have this groove left in because I need to be able to move the door, and there will be eventually something to go in there. To finish up the terrain, I add some paste and sand and rocks, stuff like that. Mix them together, make a really nice textured mixture, and then I spread that across all the foam where there would be ground. Ideally, this kind of serves as sand and loose bits of gravel and all that good stuff. And to finish it off, I just sprinkle some more sand on top to make sure there's good texture there. I'm going to even add some here on this wall just to kind of create an effect of concrete. Again, I'm going to sprinkle some larger rocks into place, and this will act as medium-sized stones. And then it's off to spray painting with primer. I noticed the vault door just did not look good. The foam inside was really lumpy and wobbly, and it just didn't look like it had been manufactured. So I went ahead and cut the top of a cup and put it in place. While I paint the terrain, I figured I'd give a little bit of background about this vault. I like to believe that Vault 90 was the creator's vault, an experiment designed by Vault-Tec to see what it would be like to stick a bunch of creators into one space and survive the apocalypse together. Most likely they were creating all kinds of amazing things, but with no one to share it with and no audience or patrons, they probably opened the vault door early and sent someone looking for patrons to come and appreciate the work that they've done. That or they went crazy. Yeah, they probably went crazy. That's up for the lore to decide, but I just thought it'd be interesting to make my own vault, and well, I was also born in the year 90, so that's another reason why I chose 90. We're not going to talk about that though, because well, okie dokie then. So I went about spraying the rest of the terrain with an airbrush. I like to use this battery-powered airbrush when I get a chance. It's pretty nice for basic coverage. Does the job that I need it to, and yeah. I also went ahead and weathered several places using just basic washes, things you'd see in most diorama builds. On top, where the road is, I go ahead and tape off some lines and add some white paint to create the edge of the road. In the middle, I'm going to do a smaller strip for yellow, and then I'm going to slide that over and do another small strip next to it, and you get this effect. Back at the door, I also add some yellow to help just accentuate the design. And finally, I'm going to add some more texture paint. This is just going to add to the weathering and look as though the paint has been chipping. I also like to add a few extra streaks just to show off that grime from this being here for decades or even centuries. Some dry brushing helps to bring out the texture. Now, for the characters and set dressing, I actually found these online. from Amazon. It's just a few small figurines, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint them up as though our main character has just come out of the vault and is ready to explore the wasteland. I personally like to use Vallejo model paints. I think they cover really well. They do a good job keeping the color true. For the most part, I don't really have to go back over with multiple layers. A few colors you will, but that's pretty normal for paints in general. So I started with the nice blue that sort of matches the vault colors, and I added some yellow and gold details, followed up by the brown leather details for the character. I was kind of inspired by Lucy from the TV show, and also the character that you see in a lot of advertisements for Fallout 4, and so that's who this lady is roughly based off of. Painting the details was a little difficult for the Vault Boy, but that's okay. Painting everything up, including the skin tones and the weapon to look more realistic, took a little bit of time, but I've had a little bit of practice with Warhammer, luckily, and I think that led me to some success here. And finally, I need to cut the base off of our main character. There she is, ready to go to the wasteland. Now, the problem with Vault Boy here is he looks a little too clean. See, he's been outside for hundreds of years as well, as sort of a decoration for the exterior of the vault. So we gotta weather him up. I go ahead and apply using a sponge a few dabs of gray paint as though it's paint chipping, and then a little bit of black paint to go over that as well to show perhaps the metal body underneath. And then a little bit of washing with brown paint, and he's good to go. Now the back side is open, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some magnets in place, and this way, if perhaps I put something in the vault that I can't get back out from the front door, I can always access it from the back, but also I can access the mechanism. I'm going to put this bolt through the slot, and that's going to allow me to attach the sliding mechanism at the top. To hide that bolt, I'm going to use this old Happy Meal car. It was from Buzz Lightyear, I believe, but I'm going to paint it up the nice retro blue and rust it away. Looking pretty good, like you've been in the wasteland for a while. I went ahead and disassembled it and slid the bolts through the body. When I reassemble this, it's almost impossible to see the bolt except for the very top. So I go ahead and slide a nut on there, and then later I'll paint it. I'm going to glue the models down to where they belong. And now it's time to apply some tufts of grass, placing those randomly so that they look as though they've been growing through this broken wasteland. And it's time for the grand reveal. Actually, I feel like this could use just a few more finishing touches. So I went ahead and made some guardrails for the top of the vault. I felt like that road just was missing something. The car, once added to the top, really just made the top feel empty. I also made up a Nuka-Cola sign by printing out a piece of paper and weathering it slightly and then placing it on some sticks. I put that into place and our road sign is good to go. And if you've seen the other video, you'll know exactly what this is. That just stuck off to the side there. Couldn't carry it with her, but man, she wanted to take it. I also added some Nuka-Cola bottles at the top, just laying along the side of the road. And for real this time, the reveal. Once again, I just want to say thank you to all of our viewers and everyone who's shown support so far. Though there aren't many of you, it is greatly appreciated. It was really cool mixing art and dioramas with utility and something that I could actually use. I hope you've enjoyed this build of the vault and maybe even been inspired to build something on your own. Now, if you'd be so kind as to do all the YouTube-y things, like comments and subscribing and all that good stuff, you know, it would go a long way. Maybe we could even make some more awesome builds like this. Stay unexceptional. Actually,